Kirk Cousins spotted in Cleveland. Aaron Rodgers news still pending as he looks north, he looks south, he looks east and west, trying to decide which sweat lodge to go to. He doesn't know what he wants to do. And here we are waiting yet again on Aaron Rodgers. And the Steelers have backed themselves into a corner. But maybe not. Maybe Jalen Milroe, as we've talked about, is the best answer for Pittsburgh. A running quarterback, a guy that's got a tremendous arm, almost a player that the Steelers can't even mess up his development because he's such a unique individual. And we said about a week ago that Milroe in Pittsburgh, you can picture him in a Pittsburgh Steeler uniform. And now we're hearing rumors that the Steelers might like Milroe. No matter what they do with Aaron Rodgers, if they draft Milroe, he'll be starting games in 2025. Aaron Rodgers will be benched or injured or something along the lines of disappointment. And Milroe will be in the lineup. I do believe Milroe is a great choice for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it is a quick path and avenue for him to get into a lineup and dominate. We'll talk about Kirko and whether he'll be a Cleveland Brown. We'll talk about Brandon Aiyuk. There's some news regarding Brandon Aiyuk. We'll talk about J.J. McCarthy and how the Minnesota Vikings are putting very little faith in him from a public eye perspective, which is a bad look, doesn't show a lot of confidence, and it's concerning to me with the development of the young kid, fragile as he might be right now, coming off an injury, disappointing as a rookie. He can't help but feel that way. And now his team won't back him as a starter. The team literally will do everything they can to dance around the topic. And that can't be good for the young man. The Fantasy Football Show, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Every single Monday through Friday show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Okay, so here we are discussing a lot of news that is kind of, I don't know, you could say getting old. But at the same time, we got some new stuff, so we'll start with the new stuff. We'll start with J.J. McCarthy. We talked a little bit yesterday about this, but kind of head scratching. If the team believes this is their guy, they're going about this wrong. For a coach of the year, for an amazing organization, for a team that looked phenomenal in 2024, very surprisingly so, making Sam Darnold look like a monster, and then he turned back into a pumpkin at the end of the season. But it was a great season for the Minnesota Vikings with a great team. But the GM, the head coaching staff, everybody involved, the suits, the brass, nobody's putting confidence in this man, J.J. McCarthy. And you got to wonder if they believe he's the future. That could be the case, and then you can't blame them, right? They're trying to look for a solution because they don't necessarily think he can take them where they need to take them. Maybe they did an analysis, an assessment, a look in the mirror, and said, I don't know. Or, and that's the most logical, I guess, solution. If this team is as good as they proved to be last year, if this coaching staff is as good as everybody believes it to be, that would be the only logical explanation, because the other one is near incompetence. The other one is putting this man out there, fragile as he might be right now, failing as a rookie. And it's not his fault. When I say failure, I'm not saying that it was his fault, but he failed. It doesn't matter how you look at it. He was injured. He went out. He didn't get to go out there and do what he's supposed to do as a rookie. And you're going to have a lot of pressure on you coming into your second season. You can't not develop or step up during that second year, or you start to go down a whirlwind. It's a snowball effect, a cascading of negativity, and losing that advantage that you have as a quarterback amongst the rest of the quarterbacks coming out. And you're in a special group, the 4 or 5 quarterbacks that have a shot as rookies to come into the league and make an impact. You can't just sit on the bench anymore. That's not how the NFL translates. Jordan Love was really kind of one of the last quarterbacks to really kind of ferment on the bench, but he didn't do it at a level of like disappointment. He did it waiting, twiddling his thumbs. This man got injured. You can't blame him. You can't sit here and say that doesn't happen. It happens all the time. But now his GM comes out and says, we're very happy with the quarterback room right now. right now. We're very happy with the quarterback room right now. We're not happy with J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy is our guy. He didn't say that. He didn't say we're turning to J.J. McCarthy. It's now J.J. McCarthy time. They're still whispering about Aaron Rodgers, but they're not doing anything. They're not having any conversations about it. But they're clearly not ready to commit to J.J. McCarthy. And if they end up having to go in that direction, they've damaged a little bit of the relationship, the confidence, and the ability, I think, of this kid to flourish to his full potential because they won't commit to him. And publicly, that is a kick to the sack. Publicly, you can't defend it. You can't defend a team saying we're happy with our quarterback room. We're happy with it for now. All these things are negative triggers for this kid who's trying to grasp whether he's going to be the starter or not. And when he was asked the other day, have you been named the starter? This team, this amazing, glorious team with the coach of the year and everybody's saying they're the best situation for any quarterback to go to, which in some ways I agree with, in some ways I'm starting to doubt. They send this kid out to the Wolves, to the reporters without any sort of backing, and he's sitting there with like in his boxers and t-shirt kind of thing, that bad dream you have where you're like, I'm not wearing pants. Oh my God, how'd I get to school with no pants? This guy goes out there and is talking to reporters, and they're like, hey, have they made you the starter? And he's like, no, and I'm glad they didn't. What do you mean you're glad they didn't? Because now I can fit. And that's the only thing he can say. You got to give him credit. The poor kid doesn't know where he's going to be a year from now. So the Vikings are looking at, we don't know what. They're supposedly interested, but very vaguely, in Aaron Rodgers. They seem to be lollygagging about this situation more than Aaron Rodgers is lollygagging about the situation. I don't know which side is more nonchalant about it. I don't know who's our quarterback. We don't care. We'll figure it out. We got tons of months to look into it. We might be interested in Aaron Rodgers. We might not be. It depends. We might go into a sweat lodge as a team, as a brass, as an organization, as a bunch of suits, and sweat in our suits and say, I don't know. Maybe we'll decide on our quarterback situation after the NFL draft. Or maybe they're being coy. They don't want to give this kid a false sense of you're our guy if they're not going to make him their guy. So they make statements like, we're happy with our QB room right now. And maybe they draft Milroe. Maybe this team is smarter than I think. Maybe they trade up and they take Shedeur Sanders. Maybe Shedeur Sanders slides in the NFL draft and all of a sudden the Vikings are making a play for him. Shedeur to JJ sounds pretty nice to me. Milroe to JJ sounds pretty nice to me. And I know some of you McCarthy believers, and I love my McCarthy believers, I do. But I didn't get a sense at all that this kid was the real deal anyway. And I don't think the Vikings feel that way either. If you disagree with me, phone line's open. Please talk me into it.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
All right, now that's an invitation for anybody that wants to convince me otherwise, not to take open phone calls, because we're still going through the news and the monologue. But if anybody does want to call in and argue against this point, like Smitty, they love J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy is the best thing since, whatever. Call in. That phone line is for you and for you alone. If you call in and talk about something else, I will hang up on you. So J.J. McCarthy, poor kid, is just, who knows what in the hell is going on. We've got Kirk Cousins spotted in Cleveland. Look at this man. Falcons QB Kirk Cousins spotted at a Chipotle in Cleveland area today. A Chipotle. He's at a Chipotle getting a barbacoa with sour cream and salsa mixed in. All right, hold on. Let's see if you followed the instructions. Bruce, you're live. You're live, Bruce. Bruce, you're live. I don't know. Bruce, I don't know if the phone line's acting up or what, but we couldn't hear you. So maybe I have an issue with the phone line, which would not surprise me. So we'll look into that. But so anyway, at the local Chipotle, Let me see if I can find. Yeah, I think the phone line's working properly. It might have been Bruce's line. Here's the thing that I want to say. No trade clause. Okay, first of all, Cousins is rumored to be waiving his no trade clause after the draft. We know that. That's not new information. Basically, Kirk Cousins has a no trade clause in his contract, and he does not want what happened to him last year to happen to him this year. Meaning that he goes to a team like Winston just did. You get promised the world, and then all of a sudden they bring in the other person. And now Winston's a potential, and I'm not so quick to say Russell Wilson's going to be able to fend off Jameis Winston. Okay, I think Winston has something to say about that, and we might be looking at a situation where, we have a competition or something, but Russell Wilson did this in Pittsburgh. Oh, I'm the starter. I believe I'm the starter. He acts like he has this aura and confidence and riz about him that is not really there. It's a facade. He painted it himself. He's the kind of guy that invites the fake crowd to show up to his signing. And he believes he's unlimited, but he's very limited. Russell Wilson. So I believe Winston will take over. But anyway, Kirk Cousins doesn't want that to happen to him like it did last year when he went to Atlanta and he thought everything was great. He signed a $100 million guaranteed deal. And then before you know it, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this team drafts, as we predicted, the man to be a top 10 quarterback, Michael Penix Jr., and Cousins felt totally stabbed in the back, and rightly so. So Kirk Cousins has a no-trade clause that he ain't releasing or waiving until his team, his future team, has no other options, and he knows he's the only lone starter. Cleveland might be that choice. And what that does for all of us that are trying to make heads and tails of the NFL draft is that Cleveland, we don't want to draft Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders does not want to go to Cleveland. His dad, Dion, wants him to go to Cleveland less than anybody known to man. So there's a lot of pressure on the Browns to say, don't draft him. You've already screwed up your quarterback position almost to the point where it set your franchise back probably another additional 5 years, but at least 10 total years, because you screwed up the quarterback situation, made the worst trade for Deshaun Watson in NFL history, then made and executed in parallel the worst contract in NFL history. You're still getting over that. You're still paying the man like $50 million walking into next year, and you can't even cut him. His dead cap is, I believe, $130+ million. You can't even cut Deshaun Watson until next offseason, which you will do. And Watson's probably played his last starting snap for the Cleveland Browns. But what can they do? Not afford to go after a quarterback that doesn't want to play for him and make a whole debacle out of that. So they're looking elsewhere. And so that means that Shedeur, should the Giants make the right call and go quarterback and not worry about Russell Wilson and Winston, those are minuscule parts of the equation and in the grand scheme of things. You're looking for Neighbors and Shedeur, the future of this franchise. Travis Hunter will be solid as well. We'll talk about how that affects Neighbors, how it doesn't affect Neighbors. A lot of knee-jerk reacting going on. Maybe Neighbors falls to the 12-13 turn, and I'd take that in a heartbeat if Hunter's there, because Hunter's not taking Neighbors' job. He's not even taking his targets. He would be a very efficient, a very effective, a very exciting player. But we do want him in a different spot. But he's not taking away from Neighbors. Neighbors is the one who knocks, not anybody else, okay? Just make that point abundantly clear. But we want Shedeur going to 3. And this news makes it very likely that the Browns are thinking that too. The Browns are like, how do we solve this quarterback position? How do we bridge QB this into Arch Manning next year? And Arch Manning will be, if I had to guess, by far and away the highest likelihood of being the number 1 overall pick. So Cleveland's probably thinking that direction. And this is a good bridge quarterback to bring in. But after the NFL draft, he's even more affordable to go get after the fact when teams are on the hook for money. Same thing goes for Brandon Aiyuk. For those that don't know about Brandon Aiyuk, the Niners are screwed. That contract is awful, and the 2026 guaranteed money, we'll talk about Aiyuk in a minute, gets locked in on April 1st, I believe, and it's right around $30 to $31 million. So the Niners are scrambling to trade Aiyuk so they can give somebody else this hit of $30+ million But on April 1, they're stuck. They get handed, I believe it's about $4 or $5 million more guaranteed for 2025. And on April 1st, not only is that guaranteed and locked in, but they also are obligated and guaranteed and locked into his 2026 salary, making it a combined $30 to $31 million the Niners are on the hook for. They can't release him. He was injured on the job. You can't release an injured player. Aiyuk's going to screw the Niners. Aiyuk he stole all that money from the Niners, essentially, hypothetically. Pardon the pun or whatever. Okay. Kirko, and then the last piece of news, then we'll go to the phone line, who I believe I have a few of you on the line. Aaron Rodgers, again, this is not any sort of update other than we're looking at Arod potentially, stringing us along for a couple more days. But NFL Insider Anderson reports Aaron Rodgers and Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. Can't believe he has that title. He shouldn't even have a title. He shouldn't even have a parking spot. He shouldn't even be allowed to check out an iPad on a daily basis. Arthur Smith had a good vibe during Aaron Rodgers' visit with the team. The report is everyone had a good vibe. It was a 6+ hour meeting, and Aaron Rodgers has no other options but to retire, which a lot of people think he might be because it's taking so long. But I don't know. I firmly believe he comes back and plays as a Pittsburgh Steeler. I think he likes the setup and the situation. I think he's just taking his time. And know this about a quarterback, about a player, about a competitor. And as much as we make fun of him because he strings everyone along, does the sweat lodge thing, and it's kind of a cuckoo wild mess, and there's all kinds of weird rumors, his relationship rumors, and all those memes, he is a competitor. And I can promise you this, every day a player that's contemplating retirement gets closer to kickoff, they are less and less likely to want to walk away from the game. In February, seems exhausting. March, a little less exhausting. April, as we approach April, it's March 27 right now. Maybe March 31st, maybe April 1st, we find out. Maybe April Fool's Day, we find out. I don't know. It's going to be a wild day if he announces it on April 1st. The memes will be all over the place, and we won't know what's true. But April, you're close, man. You're getting closer and closer. This guy is going to have the easiest path to a playoff seed if he goes to Pittsburgh. It'll be almost, I don't want to say a guarantee, but it'll be a near guarantee based on this team and this organization's track record that Aaron Rodgers will be a Pittsburgh Steeler playoff contending quarterback. And it is a good spot. It's a spot that probably keeps him healthy, the most likely to keep him healthy, the most likely to utilize his strengths and kind of mask any weakness he might have, because it's just a very, very, very productive place to play under center. The run game, you got DK Metcalf now, you got Pickens for now. Even if Pickens left, it's still a much better situation than it was last year with just Pickens, because DK's better. DK's going to pull in touchdowns. So be a Volkswagen out there. It's got the wingspan of a 7-seater Volkswagen, extended cab. And so Aaron Rodgers is going to have a field day. Defense, kind of maybe lays the pressure off him trying to be this like mentor and coach. He says he wants a culture more important than money or anything. He wants a culture. And the Steelers have a culture. It's going to be, whether you like Tomlin or not, Tomlin drops the ball. I think Tomlin should be gone anyway. But even if you can be objective about it and say that, he does have a culture. It is a very, very good culture in Pittsburgh. They're very, very football oriented. They're hard nosed. They're close games. They're a playoff contending team every single playoffs, obviously. So, and Sick Nasty, you got to give Sick. I love Sick Nasty, by the way. You got to give him credit. The man will stand by J.J. McCarthy no matter what. I love it about you, Sick Nasty. I love it. Okay, dial into the phone line. We got a $5 super chat from BBQ. Says if Rodgers wanted to play this year, he would be on the team. I think he has 1 foot retired and 1 foot being a diva who wants the team to want him. That's probably true, but I do think that it's 50-50, which is a big likelihood of retirement. That's a big likelihood. But I think it's 50-50. I think he does still want to play. I mean, the thing you got to think about is he very much wanted to play 100% It was being ousted from the Jets that made him now consider retirement. He was very, very wanting to come back and quarterback the Jets again. So that makes me feel like the sense of wanting to retire is temporary versus like he's been wanting it since he was been in New York. You know what I mean? Okay. Let me head over to the Bruce. Bruce, are you there? You're live. Okay, I don't know. Kyrie Boston, can you hear me? All right, let me mess with the phone line real quick. There's something going on with the phone line. Can you guys talk for me, Kyrie Boston? Let me see if I can figure out what's going on with my phone line. Guys, stay there. Stay there. Let me see if I can figure this out with you on the phone line. Audio. What in the hell is going on with my phone line? This happens like once every couple. Okay, Kyrie Boston, you there? Hello?
Yes, mate.
What's up? Hold on, Kyrie. Yeah, talk again. Hold on. Try now, Kyrie Boston. I had you for a second.
Job is on mute. Yeah, I'm talking.
Yeah, the problem is I don't have the audio coming into the. Let's see here. Hang tight for me. Keep talking for a second. Let me see if I can figure this out. I got to make it so you guys can hear it on the stream. So let me see if I can fix one thing on the audio here. Bear with me. I'm sorry, guys. If not, I might have to try and figure something out real quickly. Yeah, damn it. I don't know what happened. Let's see if I can do this.
No, I was going to say he was going to start on.
Else.
You don't think JJ's going to start?
No, he is going to start.
He's going to start.
Okay. Can the audience hear the phone line? Talk real quickly, Bruce. Yeah. Can you guys hear them? Can you guys hear them enough? If you can hear them enough, I'll leave it. But I know it's not ideal. It's not coming in through the same way, barely. I can hear you, but I'm trying to see if the audience can hear you. Matto says barely. We're getting some barely. Let me do one other thing. This can solve the problem for now. Let's see here. Let's hook this up. I got a external.
Yeah, it's going to be JJ to JJ this year. I can't wait.
Yeah, I know you can't, but you might have to. All right. Yeah, I would like to hear you. I would like to hear your. Hold on, Kyrie Boston. Let me talk to Bruce first, and I'll come over and talk to you. Let me see if I can get this connect real quick. Hold on. I got to speak. Yeah, I can hear you, but hang tight, man. Okay, let me see if I can connect this up, and then we'll go ahead and use this speaker, and it should be good to go. Sorry for the technical delays here, everybody. Okay, go ahead, Bruce. This will work for now.
All right. I think it's going to be JJ to JJ this year. I don't see him maybe in the later rounds going after another quarterback. I don't even see him. So deal out of this Rodgers.
So defend everything that I've said then. Let me go point by point, because I understand what you want, but it doesn't you can't just say, oh, I think it'll be like, explain it to me. Why is this team refuse? Hold on, Kyrie, I'm coming to you. Bruce, why does this team not call him the starter? Why do they continue to say things like, we're very happy for now with our QB room? Why would you say for now? They said, we're very happy for right now was the actual quote. So explain that, just that one point, for right now. Why would they even say that?
Because what if later in free agency? Because it's not just Rodgers they're in talks with. They're actually talking to Ryan Tannehill, who's been out of the league as a backup. And I think it's what they wanted with Darnold last year was the competition. I think they want to tell this kid, look, go compete with somebody. They want competition.
Bruce, you drafted him inside the top 13 overall. You don't do that to your quarterback that you draft. You don't draft Cam Ward. You don't draft Penix Jr. You don't draft these guys like McCarthy was drafted and try and have to light a fire under his rear end, bro. That's not the way you approach these things. And this is too smart of an organization and a head coaching staff that makes me think that they're doing that. I think there's something else going on. I'm not saying I know, but I'm trying to have someone explain it to me with logic, and I can't get one person to give me some actual logical sense about this. You can't just say, oh well, they just want him to be, they're just trying to create a competition. You don't create a competition with a guy that just got injured, is coming back as shattered confidence probably to a certain degree, and now you're gonna go try and get Tannehill. You're gonna go try and get Aaron Rodgers. You're gonna delay his maturing process even more. Is he not as quickly recovered as everyone's saying? Even though we've got reports saying that he's gonna be fine, he should be fine for week 1. I don't understand. Nobody can give me any good explanation. And then on top of that, like the fact that they haven't shot down the Aaron Rodgers situation, he would clearly come over to start. Aaron Rodgers would not come over to be a backup. We all know that to be 100% factual. Okay? He would not come because he's considering retiring. He's not going to come back to be a backup. If he comes back, he's the starter. That is a kick to the confidence of this kid, J.J. McCarthy, to know that a veteran like Aaron Rodgers is more valuable than a player like him, who's supposed to be their future. Not only that, they were very much contemplating bringing back Darnold. They wanted Darnold to come back even after they didn't franchise tag him. This has been nonstop. How do we replace J.J. McCarthy? Someone give me logical sense here. Anything logical. Kyrie Boston, give me something logical.
Yeah, that's what I called in for. I called in for this. I don't understand it. Like, for real, Smitty, I think that they spent so much draft capital on him, they got to play him. I'm like, they ain't like a top 12 draft pick?
Yeah, so...
The 12th pick in the draft?
So, I believe it was 12. Ziggy, what draft selection was J.J. McCarthy? Was he 11?
No, I think he was the 10th.
The 10th?
He was the 10th. That's what I thought. He was the 10th pick.
Ziggy, volume 10. Hold on.
I thought he was the 10th.
Hold on. Ziggy, what pick was J.J. McCarthy in the NFL draft?
In the 2024 NFL draft, J.J. McCarthy was drafted 10th by the Minnesota Vikings.
10th. So the 10th. So he's a top 10 pick. He's a top 10 pick, and this team is continuously not backing him as a starter. Does anybody, like, I see some of the comments, Matt O, I see your comment. Hold on, Kyrie, hold on, Kyrie. Not only Matt O, do I see your comment where you say he'll be fine, he's a great leader. He's a great leader. He's not a great leader yet, like in the NFL. In college, you could say that, but he doesn't have any experience to be a leader yet, and he's been injured. Like, he has no NFL leadership skills yet at all. Not to mention he has no experience at all in the NFL. Not to mention this team has not backed him, sent him out to reporters to fend for himself and get eaten by the wolves, and they say, "Hey, are you the starter? You've been named the starter," and he's got to go out there and go, "No, but I'm glad I haven't been because I need to earn it." And look, there's nothing wrong with J.J. McCarthy. Let me make that abundantly clear. I like this kid. He is a high-quality character guy. And we heard this from Drake May and McCarthy camps and different scouts on both of them, that May is a high-quality character guy, that this is such a quality person to bring into your locker room. And we've heard the same thing about J.J. McCarthy. He's a quality kid, like very, very solid, smart kid. So that is not relevant to the question. The question at hand is he further behind from his surgeries and his progress to the point where that's why this team is a little skeptical? It's not that they doubt him as their long-term option, but the problem is every option they look for, it could potentially stunt the growth or delay his uprising, which is what happened with Darnold. You know, Darnold is very much was in the way, and they almost tagged him, but they didn't tag him. And people said, well, them not tagging him makes them believe in JJ McCarthy. Not necessarily, because it might have been the doubt of paying Darnold that amount of money, given he folded kind of at the end of the year. But if you were very happy, you hear them constantly say things like, from the Vikings organization, like he's where could be more happy with his approach, and this kid brings, you know, a lot of mental toughness and his quality character, and you hear a lot of great things that back up what we're talking about. Very good locker room guy, very good. Maybe he could be a good leader, as Matt O said, but he's not. You can't say he's a good leader in the NFL. He's a freaking rookie. He doesn't have any leadership, even ability as a rookie in the NFL. He's not a leader yet. He's a young kid that just came off his rookie year where he got injured, and maybe he's not as healthy as it seems. And I can't get one person that's a JJ McCarthy supporter to come in and give me logical sense other than he will be the guy. You'll see. He's good. He was great in college. He's a winner in college. I haven't got one person that tells me why the Vikings are taking this approach, this long process and road to getting him maybe into the lineup, why they're looking for these veterans. You could maybe say, and I'll tell you, this would be my ammunition if you told me to flip the script, is I'd say Sam Darnold. What does Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers, and Tannehill, or whatever you want to throw out, have in common? They seem more bridge-like than long-term-like. So maybe they do fear that it's the injury concern, the being ready for week one. So let's get somebody in that we only need for a short period of time. Then we'll turn over to JJ McCarthy. That is the only logical sense that I have. That's the only logical take that I have that supports that JJ McCarthy is the future of this organization. That's it. There's nothing else. And if anybody has it, present your case. Go ahead, Kyrie Boston.
Yeah, what they got behind JJ? I think he might be injured for the beginning of the season. That's why they're looking for a replacement.
Due diligence. Don't give me the due diligence. That's a lazy argument. That's a lazy argument when you took somebody. No, not you. Not you. Not you.
Why are you doing this?
I'm not saying.
Why you ain't gonna stop?
All right, Kyrie Boston, hold on a second, bro. Hold on one second. Mute yourself real quickly. I'll come back in a second. Bruce, mute yourself. Let me go over to Justin. I'm speaking to this comment. Due diligence, I think, is what they're saying. That's a lazy take. That's a take that you use when you're trying to support an argument that you're not liking where it's going either, and you're like, okay, due diligence. It's a common take. Due diligence. No, it's not due diligence. You don't do due diligence with the 10th overall pick. This is a guy you drafted in the 10 spot to be your future, and you aren't saying things like, Dave, call back in if you want to get on. You're not saying things like, oh, you know, he might not be ready for week one, so we just want to have our backup plan in place so that we can do what we did last year. Recover from a situation where if this kid isn't ready for week one, we still can get ourselves some W's and make the playoffs and, you know, cover our bases in case something else happens and we got a quarterback we believe can do that the whole season. That's not what they're saying. They're saying we're very happy with our quarterback room now. They're not shooting down Aaron Rodgers coming to take JJ McCarthy's job. How is anybody defending this? How is anybody? I see, like, there's a lot of people in the chat defending this right now. This man saying he's a starter. This is due diligence. This is nothing big. You're blowing this out of proportion. How am I blowing this out of proportion? They're not committing to him. Clearly, they're not committing to him on like 7 different levels. Somebody explain it to me. Justin, you're live.
Okay, so I'm not defending what they're necessarily doing in terms of, like, okay, how they're talking about the kid. But in their defense, for the past 2 years, they have had a significant portion of the quarterback position get injured. JJ McCarthy was a significant portion of their quarterback position. He got injured in 2024. Kirk Cousins got injured in 2023. And these are, like, out for the rest of the season injuries. So they might feel like they need another big guy in there. Now, behind closed doors, they might be talking to JJ McCarthy saying, yo, dog, we just want to make sure we have guys we feel are comfortable starting in a big way, and that be like at least the number 1 and number 2 in the depth chart. And some of these things that they're saying might be a little tongue-in-cheek. Like, he said he's comfortable with the quarterback room right now.
I don't think there's any other rostered quarterback on the Vikings besides J.J. McCarthy. So that might just be a little tongue-in-cheek. It's like, what is he telling you there? The kid is the quarterback for him. Like, you see what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, but there's a lot of assumptions in there and a lot of storytelling. You know, a lot of what if. Let me tell you a tale.
Rostered guy.
I get that, but bro,
I agree.
Bro, you know what you're saying. You know what you're planting in the media. You're a GM, you're an experienced GM of a successful organization, and someone asks you about your quarterback room. You're not going to play tongue in cheek about what the way this is going to have the media circling around JJ McCarthy like sharks, like they did. And he said, "Have you been named the starter?" And he's like, "No, but I'm glad I haven't. There's nobody in the QB room, but they won't name me the starter." I mean, that's even worse. That's even worse. Anybody defending. Look. This is the problem. And no offense to all you JJ McCarthy believers out there. You must have him in all your dynasty leagues or something. But like this comment, JJ McCarthy is him, end of story. JJ McCarthy's him, end of story. What are you talking about, bro? That isn't even. I don't understand. And V, you clearly, no offense, but you clearly don't know what you're saying because you're calling him JJ. His name's not JJ. That's Justin Jefferson. You're using JJ for JJ McCarthy. We can't listen to a word you're saying. He's either more injured than they're letting us know, or they doubt him more than they want to admit. There's only those two options in my view. Those are the only two options in my view. I get what a lot of you want to be the situation here. And I'm not saying that he's going to fail. Have you heard a word from me say that I don't believe in JJ McCarthy? Does anybody on the phone line believe, because I think that some of you were thinking that's what I'm saying. Have I said one time that he's a bust? Have I said one time on this whole show that he's a bust? I have not. I'm telling you what the Vikings are putting out there. So before anybody says, Smitty, JJ McCarthy is great. He's so awesome. Like whatever. I'm not saying he isn't. I'm telling you the Vikings either don't believe in him as much as they want you to know, or he's injured. Smitty, I'm Michigan guy. He's J. No, he's not, V. I don't care if you're a Michigan guy. This is the NFL, bro. JJ is JJ. What are you talking about? No. You're wrong. I don't know. I don't. Let me go over. Hold on real quickly. I've gotten everybody's take, but who's on the phone? Dave? 507.
Who are you talking about?
507. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name's Tom. I'm calling from Minnesota.
All right. Well, go ahead, Tom. What can I do for you?
So, I'm not a huge J.J. McCarthy guy, but I just feel like in the offseason they've got a bunch of different offensive line people and just built their team kind of around J.J. And they haven't said that he isn't the guy. So how can we speculate that he's not? And
semantics.
I wasn't big on Sam Darnold last year, but I liked seeing how he played and like he just kind of got us by. And I feel like they just got rid of him because they knew we had another guy.
Tom.
Quarterbacks because.
Tom, if you were the only phone caller on the line here, the only one, and let's say you're the,
I'm not sure what's going on.
Let's say you're the only phone caller on the line. Let's say you're the only caller of the day. Let's say my phone lines were breaking and you're the only call I'd have for the entire day. And you ask me, hey, am I the best caller of the day? And I say, I'm happy with the phone call we had today, but I'm not ready to commit that you're the best phone caller of the day. What would that say about how I actually felt about the phone call that you presented to the show today? Like, he's the only quarterback, and they won't commit to him as a starter. Like, that point alone from Justin's even worse for J.J. McCarthy right now. If he's the only legitimate quarterback on the team and they can't name him the starter, you tell me what kind of message that sends. That means they're trying to find someone better than him right now. And if they don't, they're covering their bases by walking on eggshells around the topic. Plain and simple. You can't light a fire under somebody when there's nobody else in the QB room, and you can't even name him the starter. You took him 10. And for everybody that says, I saw V's comment that what about Jordan Love? I already said that. I already shot down. I already took away your ammunition on that. There's no more Jordan Loves. There's no more quarterbacks waiting for 2, 3, 4 years. The college game has changed. If you're good enough to go in the top 10, you better damn start year 1 and be good, or you're going to bust in this league. Now, there are rare situations like Penix. There's rare occasions like Penix Jr. where the team does something weird. Then yeah, they're on hold for now. That's not their fault. But if you're drafted into a room where there isn't an elite quarterback, or there isn't a situation where the team's financially committed and they're just going to let it ride for or in Drake May's case, they really wanted to not break him in year 1. They didn't have the support. So they're like, let's ease him in year 1, but not in week 1 so he doesn't get trashed and smashed. But this is not your dad's NFL anymore. You don't. There's no Jordan Loves anymore. You don't sit on the bench for 3 and 4 years anymore. If you need to sit on the bench for 3 or 4 years, you suck. I'm not saying JJ McCarthy sucks. I'm saying that if he needed to, I know he did, and now he's not hurt. Where did I say that he sucks or anything? I didn't. But if you're telling me that he needs to be Jordan, look, the reason I said that is because the Jordan Love comment. What are you talking about? I'm saying that if you're telling me McCarthy could sit for 3 or 4 years and this new quarterback endeavor that the Vikings are going on is a part of the Jordan Love explanation, you're twisting what I'm saying. Of course he got hurt. I understand that. But if you think he needs to sit for 2 or 3 more years, then I've news for you. He's not going to make it in the NFL. If he needs to sit 2 or 3 more years to be worthy enough to start in a league where the FBS translates straight over to the NFL, you are not going to be a good quarterback in this league. But I'm not saying that JJ McCarthy's a bust. I've never once said that on the show. This entire show, I'm saying that the Vikings are sending you a message about what they believe. You can believe that it's true or not. That's up to you. You can believe he's a bust or not a bust. That's up to you. What I'm trying to tell you is the Vikings are sending mixed messages that they either don't believe in McCarthy, right now at least, or he's more injured than we know. That's it.
I got a question though, Smitty.
Go ahead.
Is it smart though if they go and get maybe like a vet, and just in case if he doesn't work out, then the vet can get his bye for the year?
Of course. But the vet they're looking potentially at would be the starter. You don't bring Aaron Rodgers in to be a backup. He will retire.
I don't even want Rodgers.
I know, but I'm trying to explain to you that the quarterbacks that they want to bring in, it was, okay, do we bring Darnold back? Oh, let's think about this. They don't bring Darnold back to be a bench quarterback. If they brought him back, it would have been on the tag. The tag would have been average of top 5 quarterback salary in the National Football League for 1 year, and the tag would only be used to try and work out a long-term deal, which they fully contemplated. Instead of rolling with J.J. McCarthy, they fully contemplated tagging and extending Sam Darnold. Like, how is this that obscure to people? I don't understand why there's a lot of pushback on this topic. I'm not saying McCarthy's not good. I'm not saying McCarthy will bust. Some of you don't seem to get that. What I'm saying is that McCarthy is not believed in by the Vikings the way that some people want him to be. And they're being very clear about that. Smitty, weren't you doubting Knicks? Oh my God, bro. You've been wrong all show. Knicks?
Take a big laugh. We don't need your ass coming back.
Doubting Knicks, bro. Nice try.
Hey, Smitty.
Yeah.
Smitty, I had to get off because JJ, I want to say something on that thing, man. But JJ,
yeah,
I think I understand what it is. I think hey,
hold on. Stop calling JJ. Stop calling JJ McCarthy JJ.
My fault. With JJ McCarthy, I think they're trying to either figure out if they're gonna take a quarterback they're going to take a quarterback that's a veteran, or they're going to take a rookie, because I don't think he's healthy, man. I think they want to take a backup that's good, but they don't want to have to wait to the draft, so they still contemplate. I don't think he's healthy yet.
Yeah, I think that might be that might be the case.
What type of backup quarterback they're trying to get for JJ?
Again, this is like, no offense, D-Town, you know I love you, pal, but this is like scraping off just the top layer of icing on this topic. Like you're answering this from a very, very, very quick, passerby type of perspective. Nothing wrong with bringing in a vet QB as a backup plan. JJ McCarthy hasn't played one down. Correct. But they weren't looking at that. Their two biggest potential lands at quarterback have been the general conversation about Aaron Rodgers that they won't shoot down. They won't publicly shoot it down. They clearly are still, having a conversation about it, whatever the case may be. Their second one was extending franchise tagging at top 5 salary in the tag on Darnold and then extending him long term. So what you're saying here is a very general, vague statement that is correct, but it has nothing to do with why the Vikings are looking like a team that doesn't believe in JJ McCarthy. Completely different. That's the part. I feel like everybody's looking at this one-dimensionally that's arguing this. Like, what I'm saying is 100% factual. The team was considering going in the direction of Sam Darnold on a tag that paid him the average salary of the top 5 or greater, because they would have extended him. Or they're looking at Aaron Rodgers, who's not a quarterback that is a backup plan. He would come in to start.
But all right, here's my thing.
What if he was to miss the first 2 weeks of the season? Then what?
Then what? What? In regards to my Darnold and Aaron Rodgers, okay, but you're talking about
in pre-camp.
You're talking about an unrelated. You're talking about an unrelated angle again. You keep going back to that. Why does everybody keep going back to the unrelated angle of this? That they need a backup plan. They need a quarterback. Everyone needs a backup plan. Every team needs another quarterback. That is a completely irrelevant conversation. That's a sidebar conversation. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers and Sam Darnold and what message that sends.
They might want to get someone that's good right now, but they might not want to invest in a veteran. Why would you?
Here's my thing on this.
An old ass quarterback, That's
hey, D. If this is too high energy for you, then you can check out. D Money. I don't need to calm down nothing. This is my resting face. This is why you watch the show. Yet here you are, D Money. Yet here you are. You want me to calm down. Yet you're excited. You're excited. Your juices are flowing. You're watching this show and you're like, this is like no other show I've seen. At least this guy's passionate. And yet you want me to calm down. Here, let me talk about it from this perspective. I was my Excel sheet, Eric. I'm here live. I'm not going to read any of the chat messages today. I'm going to talk to this guy over here. This is Excel sheet Bob. And we're going to not respond to anybody in the chat as you super chat, and we don't read it. Because we can't do two things at once. And I'm just going to talk to Bob over here. Bob, what do you think about this situation? Well, I think Excel sheet, Eric, that there's a lot of possibilities, and I don't think I'm ready to say anything until the draft's over, because that might be a bold prediction that will look bad for me later as I put receipts out there. That's a great point. I think maybe we should just not talk about it at all, and I think maybe not having a real detailed conversation and not acknowledging our live chat is the best approach for a show. Is that what you want, D-Money? Because I can tell you there are 1,000 shows like that. Go watch those if you have a problem. We got BBQ dropping 20 gifted memberships. By the way, we got a new emoji because of BBQ and New Age Outlaw. That emoji is the Trey Henderson emoji. So drop the Hendo emoji right now. Appreciate you all. All right, go ahead. Who was talking?
I was saying, Smitty, I don't think he's healthy, to be honest with you. That's why I think they're looking for a temporary placement for now. But they don't know which direction they want to go. They want to go young or old. I don't think they want to go old, though. I think they want a quarterback. to replace him for now, and for a person to be a backup. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So here's where I'll go back to the nuts and bolts of this argument for me, because some people I believe they think they hear something because I'm yelling. They think I hate JJ McCarthy, or they think I'm calling him I don't know what it is, but the honest, breakdown of this thing is this. I'm not saying a single thing on this entire show where what are we? How many minutes in? 50 minutes and 18 seconds in. I've never once said that he's a bust. I never once said that he will fail. I never once said anything of that at all. Not one time. Not one time have I said anything about JJ McCarthy doesn't have what it takes. I haven't gone there. The only thing I'm telling you is the Vikings are either worried about his injury, which is what you're believing as well, and they're trying to cover this up the best way they can, and they don't want to overcommit to JJ McCarthy even publicly, because that's not the right thing to do. And then number two, it's the other option is that they don't believe in him. That's not me saying that. They don't believe in him, and I think the evidence of that argument, clearly there's concern about the injury or this. The evidence of that argument is them even going down the Aaron Rodgers road, and even further going down potentially the Sam Darnold road, which they very much contemplated. And had they franchise tagged him and extended him, that would have put the nail in the coffin in the JJ McCarthy argument. There wouldn't be a single person in here but Sick Nasty, who I love, saying that JJ McCarthy's the man, he'll be the future. Everyone would be like, well, that's it. I guess they don't like him. And everyone would have moved on. But because they didn't bring Darnold back, which is a sign that they might either like McCarthy, obviously, for their future, or at least an option if he's healthy, we thought, or they just really don't believe in Sam Darnold, and the system's the system. I think if JJ McCarthy got in there, he would play well. I think this system is so good it turns Sam Darnold back into a good-looking quarterback when he probably, well, let's see how good he is. I think he's going to be good, but I think he's much better in Minnesota, just like Kirk Cousins was amazing in Minnesota. And I know he was injured, and it's kind of hard to fully judge why he played so badly last year. Could have been the injury, maybe not. Could be that he just aged out, and he was really good in Minnesota, and he just at the wrong time went to the wrong team with the injury and all that mixed together. But at the end of the day, there's something. What my point is, for almost an hour straight, and everyone thinking I'm hating on JJ McCarthy, I'm not. I'm trying to decipher the news. I'm trying to decipher what Minnesota's telling you. That's all. And what I'm telling you is we're getting mixed messages about JJ McCarthy being their long-term quarterback in their eyes. I'm not saying it won't work. I'm not saying he'll bust. I'm not saying they won't eventually turn to him. What happens if Aaron Rodgers goes to the Steelers tonight or tomorrow? Then that's off the table. And Darnold's already gone. So there is no other option. And then they say JJ McCarthy's our guy. Of course that can happen. And he might play well. And maybe this doesn't damage his confidence enough that it even matters. Maybe it motivates him, possibly. But at the same time, you still got to worry about some of the damage that this could do to a kid that is going to feel obligated to feel failure. He's going to be obligated to be like, I disappointed you. I got hurt. No, don't worry. It was not your fault. Anybody could get hurt. Yeah, but you drafted me 10 and I was supposed to step up and I didn't. So he's already internally looking that way, being kind of like a little bit, crap, I got to step up here. And when you don't give him the floor, when you say things like, we're very happy with our QB room, are you the starter? No, they haven't named me the starter yet, but I'm glad because I'm going to earn it. Earn it from who? There's no one in the quarterback room. All right, let me go around the.
That's real, Smitty. They ain't going there. That's what's killing me.
Let me go back over.
Why I can't understand why.
Let me go back over to Justin.
They're going to say he's a starter and we need a backup.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, hold on one second, Kyrie Boston. Let me go over to Justin one more time, then over to Ron Navy, then back over to Bruce. Go ahead, Justin.
But can I say one thing, though, before you go, Smith?
Yeah.
Yo, these teams really don't tell us nothing about these injuries, man. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
You know, I can't believe how fantasy football goes down.
I mean, you know who the worst is?
They don't tell you nothing about no injuries.
The two worst are going to be Well, Pittsburgh wasn't good either because remember the Liz Frank injury that Najee had, and we found out after he had already kind of recovered from the Liz Frank injury. That was awful.
McCaffrey?
That Shanahan's the worst, and then Sean Payton. And as much as we love what he's doing in Denver, he'll never tell you anything. So Shanahan and Sean Payton are the worst. Do not expect to find out the truth in a press conference or whatever. All right, hang tight, Kyrie Boston. Go ahead, Justin.
Hey, so like, I don't know. Part of my thing is that when we like feel the Sam Darnold and JJ McCarthy conversation, like what Sam Darnold signed with the Seahawks for really wasn't that much. So to me, like, while we're having conversations about like, well, like they're not really showing signs that they love JJ McCarthy, which is true. Like, I'm not here to deny that that's true. They really kind of showed you signs that they really weren't in for Sam Darnold. Now, as far as like the Aaron Rodgers thing, I don't know. Like I've heard like very conflicting reports in regard to that. Like I heard that like they didn't seem that interested. I heard that they did seem interested. Like it seems like there's a lot of conflicting smoke in regard to Aaron Rodgers specifically. Something else to say, like, I don't know how worried the kid could necessarily be if there's just not another guy on the roster. Like,
well, that's why.
like,
that's why.
But
again, when your team won't commit to you and you're the only guy there, that's like saying, like I said, you're the only caller on the phone line, and I'm like, like, hey, Smitty, do you think I'm the best caller today? We're happy. We're happy with your call today, but even though there's no other callers.
Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I have a question about Kevin O'Connell. Like, do we know he's a guy that, like, because, like, I'm jaded because I'm a Patriots fan and I watch Bill Belichick. Like, you could ask Bill Belichick, like, what color's the sky, and he'd be like, ask the weatherman. Like, he is literally the epitome of I don't tell you anything. And I think a lot of coaches in the league right now are a little bit friendly version of that. Like, you could ask them something that is like a fact. Like, you could ask, like, Andy Reid, not Andy Reid, I don't think he would do it. But, like, you understand what I'm saying. Like, they just won't give you anything. So it's like, do we know Kevin O'Connell to be a guy that, like, will give you secrets? Because there are coaches out there.
I don't.
I think, like,
I don't,
5 or 6 of them that will tell you everything.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're going to hear any of their plans of attack. And like I said, when no one's going to tell you who they're drafting, when you hear teams leaning toward drafting this player, especially when they're not at 1, like, oh, they're at the 5 or 6 pick. Like, the Raiders really are going to draft Genty, we're hearing. They're not telling anybody. Who would tell somebody? So that what? That Ben Johnson could trade a 5 so he can snag Genty? Like, no one's going to do that. But that doesn't explain anything of what I'm saying. You might not want to tell anybody, but there's a difference between that and anointing your only quarterback. And they got the Ripken kid. He's still on the roster, by the way. But yeah, to not name McCarthy, who you took 10 overall, your starter, when you're repeatedly asked, it tells a story. And even if you want to say he could behind closed doors be like, hey, you're really our guy. There is also something to that being a bad coaching move. If you're that's like your girlfriend saying, hey, can we not hold hands in public? I don't want people to know that I'm taken, but you are my significant other. That would be the same example. Like, McCarthy still would be offended and hurt. His confidence would not be where it exactly could be. I'm not saying it's shot and he busts because of it, but that's not a good move. If you literally are trying to play games with your starting quarterback, other coaches would, and I'm not saying he's doing that, but I'm saying if you could confirm 100% that this is all a game, then I would say this is a bad game to play. There is something to telling your quarterback, saying, I don't care what anybody asks me, you're a guy, and we're going to tell the world. Like, you're leading us into war. I'm not saying he can't lead anyone into war. I've never once on this hour, 59-minute and 22-second show said he will bust. I've just said that the Vikings are telling you all a story by the way they act, behave, and not indicate this kid to be their starter when there's no other quarterback on roster. they've contemplated really, really very, very much contemplated tagging Darnold and signing him to a long-term deal. And they decided to go away from that, but that doesn't necessarily mean they believe in him. They just might not believe in Darnold, but they're also not publicly shooting down the Aaron Rodgers news. And there's a lot of people saying that they're still interested, but they haven't had conversations. They're being more coy about it than Aaron Rodgers, like more nonchalant. Aaron Rodgers might be attracted by that. Like, hey, this team's acting like we might do it, we might not. Aaron Rodgers is like, I like the way you think. That's the way I am. I might come back, I might not. Should we meet? It's like the same exact approach. But you can argue till you're blue in the face that he'll succeed. I'm not going to sit here and say he won't. And if he does, like my grandma could go into this offense and gunsling. Like it's good. Like he could be good. And I'm not trying to say that he doesn't have the skill and that he'll be propped up, but whatever level he's at, he'll play a little better because the offense is awesome. But I mean, guys, we're being told something here by this team, whether we like it or not, whether anybody likes it or not. They're unsure either about the injury and they're being coy about it and they're trying to be delicate with their verbiage and the media is trying to dig into it and it's just looking bad, or, and that could be the case, or they're just unsure about him. Doesn't mean that they won't eventually, say we have no other options, let's try it out, and then he blows up. Keep in mind that not a single, like this, for anybody that believes in JJ McCarthy, keep in mind that his own offensive coordinator, Kurt Warner, didn't want him on the team. Dick Vermeil was the only one that wanted Kurt Warner on the Rams. And when Trent Green went down right before week 1, the offensive coordinator for the Rams walked up to Vermeil and said, I don't want to start Kurt. Kurt's not my quarterback. Vermeil said, he's our quarterback. You're going to have to deal with it. Make it work. So understand what I'm saying. No one's calling him a bust, an absolute whatever. I'm saying that a story is being told here. And he could, like Kurt Warner, walk onto the field and say, I don't care who doubts me. I don't care if my team doubted me. I don't care if my team was afraid to hold hands with me in public. But I'm going to go out there and become Kurt Warner. No one's saying he can't. I'm just telling you the story that's being told. All right, let me go over to Ron Navy real quick, who is live on the phone. Ron, go ahead. You're live.
Smitty?
What's up?
No rough on D Money there, weren't you?
No.
I mean, D Money's been around for a long time.
No, I'm not. D Money's a tough guy. He can take it, but people are going to say that I'm being too.
A little rough.
Well, it's fine. D Money will bounce back. He's our boy. He'll be fine.
I'm saying you're kind of rough on him. Sometimes you take
Ron. This is the show. Ron, this is the show. This is the show, Ron. I'm not. It is what it is.
I know, but it is what it is. You know me.
Okay. What can I do? What can I do for you about this topic?
Yeah, I'd like to see Aaron Rodgers go to Minnesota, and then I'd like to see. Now we're saying Kirk Cousins is up in the Cleveland area. We don't know what the area is there. I'd like to see Kirk in Pittsburgh, but
you love Kirk.
I'd actually be great to get neither one. And what's that do for Tomlin? It really bends him over.
Do you think Kirk Cousins would succeed in Pittsburgh, though? I mean, he's a possibility in Pittsburgh once the draft has happened and let's say Aaron Rodgers retired. Then all of a sudden
the ones that really believe that Kirk Cousins last year was still struggling with his injury. I think that was a major part because, he had a game against Tampa Bay that was like him, they were going at it back and forth. He had 5-6 touchdowns in that game. But then, he regressed back. I think he re-hurt himself. He wasn't fully recovered. And I just think that, 2 years removed from the Achilles, I think he'll do all right. But that's just my opinion. You know me. I'm always pro Kirk.
What's going on here in Minnesota?
Well, if they're not big on McCarthy, if they think that I think they end up with Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers wants to go there. That was his first choice. So then that might be why we haven't heard anything from Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers and stuff, because I mean he was there last week, 6-hour visit and all this other stuff, and nothing. I mean, classic Aaron Rodgers, right? You just got to put up with his crap every single year. I just wish he'd just go away. You know, it got to the point like, you know, same was like Favre. Remember when Favre would retire and then he'd come back and he'd retire and then he'd come back? People got sick and tired of it, and I'm sick and tired of Aaron Rodgers. I just wish he would go away.
Yeah,
I'm tired of his little drama.
Yeah,
stuff.
It's easy to want to defend him because of the way people want to hate him. The way people wanted to hate him for years bothered me. Like, I wanted to support him. I was always like, you know, this is a guy that wants to, you know, say what he wants, do what he wants. You know, all that was great. But then all of a sudden, it's like when you get drug along on these long, drawn out journeys, and it's our fault partly. Like, we got to take some responsibility for wanting to consume content in February, March, April, May. Like, that's really on us. I think when we start blaming the players for digging into their lives and their you know, like, who are we? Like, what do we have to do with? I mean, we're the fans. We're the reason they get paid. I get that, but it's funny how we expect Aaron Rodgers to be on our timeline, and he's an older player that's just starting to decide if he wants to play or not. Is he supposed to rush it, make the wrong decision because we want him to sign early? So, like, I go back and forth on it, but at the end of the day, when we want to be judgmental about it, yeah, I'm getting sick and tired of it. You know, I'm getting sick and tired of being drug along, and I find myself not supporting him and his endeavors as much. He seems a little cuckoo too, you know, and you hear the reports about, you know, this and that from his relationships and how he was so controlling in his relationships, and I don't know, he seems like a weird guy. So I don't know. I'm done with it too. I'm done with it. I defended him long enough, and I do.
He was great. We all got tired of the Aiyuk thing last year too. That just went on and on and on and on and on.
That's a whole other story.
It gets old after a while, and you just don't want to talk about it no more. You just like, you don't care.
Now, if the Vikings draft like Milroe or something, then we'll see what all the McCarthy believers, you know, say. Yeah, D Money knows it. What's up, D Money? What?
I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
If JJ McCarthy wasn't going to be their starter, why did they go Donald?
Why they what?
They franchise tag him. Why didn't they franchise tag Donald for one more year if they wasn't sure about McCarthy?
Well, that's a hard question to answer because it doesn't necessarily mean anything about JJ McCarthy. It just means that they don't think Darnold's worth that money and they're afraid of him crumbling and falling apart again. So I don't think you can just say that means they believe the correlation of that. You can't just, it's not, there's too many variables there. But I do think that the fact that they contemplated for as long as they did and they struggled with it and they really were considering giving him a long-term deal that's been very well documented and reported on, that tells you a lot, you know. Caden, I know you want to leave. What?
I'm like, damn, they should just gave him the contract.
Well, I mean, who knows?
You know what I think it is?
What, Brucey?
Smitty?
What?
I think it is that they were so good last year under Darnold that they really do believe that this kid can't do as good as Darnold did. I truly believe that. And I think they think, hey, we'll bring in Aaron Rodgers. He can be that guy that does that. Even though I'm a McCarthy believer, he can't do that right now because of his injury. You even said when you tore your ACL, it took you a year to get your leg to rewire. Maybe they don't want to put too much pressure on him at once.
I get that, but that still tells the story. Like I said, there's two sides to this. They either are not comfortable with where he is injury wise, or they don't believe in him being their long term. So either way, that's what I'm saying. So I think that the problem, though, when people say they just need a backup plan, Aaron Rodgers is not a backup plan. He's the A plan, the plan A. Doesn't mean it'll work out. I'm not trying to defend that he's a better option. I'm just telling you that you bring in Aaron Rodgers, you're bringing him in to start. He's not coming to be a backup. You're going to pay him to be a starter. He's also going to be He's also going to walk away. If he came over and you said it's a competition, he'd just retire. That's not what we said. I was going to retire anyway. You think I'm going to stay New Age Outlaw just left. New Age, I was just coming over for you, pal. Call back in. I wanted to talk to you real quickly, so call back in if you can. Let me go over real quickly to 816. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This D Money.
D Money, my boy. D Money, tell Ron that we're fine. Tell Ron that we're fine. Ron's all upset about thinking that you and I are not good.
Oh no, I was agreeing with you. I was just telling you the time that they getting your blood pressure up.
Yeah.
But I was agreeing with you because
and I appreciate you.
I just think that it's gonna mess him up. It's gonna mess him up, like you were saying. It's gonna stunt his growth. What they should go get Milton, or they should have got Winston or something. Somebody that's gonna manage a team.
Yeah. Winston would have been perfect.
But he's not healthy. He's not ready yet.
Hey, one second. Let me merge New Age in. Hold on. Let me get New Age Outlaw in here on hold. New Age, New Age Outlaw. Appreciate you.
Hey, what's up, guys?
You're on hold, New Age. Just hang tight. I'm gonna come to you next. Keep going, D Money, and then I'll go to New Age Outlaw.
But I was just saying, if they don't think he's not ready yet, he's still injured. Just go get somebody that's gonna get the ball to your weapon, like a Winston. They could have paid Winston or go trade for Milton, or they could have went and got Gardner Minshew, who came to my team, the Chiefs. They could have just got somebody that's gonna manage the team till he came back healthy.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel about it.
I agree with you. I think it's a mistake to look for long-term options or not even long-term options, but like season-long locked-in options. Long-term being Darnold, they looked at that, they explored it, they passed, and now they're looking at Aaron Rodgers, who is going to be the starter all year in his mind, and the intention would be that. And that would be like, what does that say? I'm not saying it makes him bad. I'm saying what's it say about the team's view of him? And then, unfortunately, it's going to kick his confidence down a whole notch. There's just no way. And I'd love to hear from Sick Nasty, and not in an argumentative way, just for his explanation. If, let's say, Aaron Rodgers is signed to start, how does that not make this kid feel like, damn it, I'm not. They obviously don't think of me dropping 20 gifted memberships, BBQ again. I'd just like to know an honest take on it, Sick Nasty, not a McCarthy to the moon. I want to know an honest take of how that would be positive. Let me go over to New Age real quickly. Hang tight, D Money. Don't hang up. I'll come back to you. New Age Outlaw, you're live.
Hey, Smitty, I gotta go.
Okay.
I was just calling in.
All right, D Money. Appreciate you later, bro. Go ahead, New Age.
Right, I think it's the perfect thing for McCarthy to not lock him in, because you don't want to put this much pressure on a rookie. And this is a playoff team in a division that just put 3 teams into the playoffs. So you're playing, if they got their playoff team, if they can get somebody to compete with them and push them a little more, it'll make them a better. But everybody's a playoff possible team in this division, and it's any up you can get on the other team, you got to do it and take it. That's like, if McCarthy's about equal to like Jordan Love talent wise. It might take him a little while, know the system, but the talent's around him. The difference, like for Love, is if we don't get a wide receiver out of the draft or anything, we're on the bottom now. So I think it's the perfect thing for McCarthy to, not be named the starter right away, but tell them we're going to win a play. We're going after a championship. We're going to bring in competition. You're our guy, but you don't want McCarthy starting and then fail and somebody go in for him. You rather have somebody else start and then fail and then McCarthy go in. Otherwise, it would destroy him totally if he started and then got benched.
While I understand that point of view, I feel like it's an outdated point of view, though. I feel like once you become a top 10 pick and you're a quarterback, that you're expected to start and you can start. I don't think this is your dad's NFL anymore, where you sit out 2 or 3 years like Jordan Love did, and he was drafted so long ago. Really, at this point, This is the college game translates so well now that there isn't this need or desire to sit a quarterback and have him learn. If anything, it makes you, puts you in a worse position. It puts cobwebs on you. It makes it so that you lose that edge that you have. These guys that come out of college now at the quarterback position, at the wide receiver position now, which was not the case. Remember Larry Fitzgerald days? When Larry Fitzgerald came out as a rookie wide receivers were 700 yards and 4 touchdowns. You weren't a 1,000-yard, 1,200-yard guy. That just didn't happen. Jamar Chase was changing that. And the wide receiver position is very much the same. Neighbors was wide receiver 6. BT was wide receiver 4. So it's crazy now. JD5 was a top, and I know not everybody's JD5, but when you draft JJ McCarthy in the same wheelhouse as JD5, Bo Nix was remarkable as a rookie. Drake May played pretty well too, and he had no weapons. So if you really can't put JJ McCarthy out there with Justin Jefferson, Addison, Aaron Jones, now Jordan Mason, TJ Hawkinson, a defense, a good offensive line coach of the year, and you are worried about it, he's not the guy. In your mind, he's not the guy.
Yeah, I think they wanted Penix bad. They figured he'd fall to him. As soon as they were done, they just jumped up at any means to grab a quarterback because they got to have one. And now they got their fan base. If they bring Rodgers over, it probably just you get booed right out. They ain't gonna let Rodgers stay in there.
But you guys understand what I'm saying? Like, it's just there's no need to ferment on the bench. I don't think you become better in the NFL anymore. I think when you come from college, especially winning situation like JJ McCarthy, you fully expect him to come in and be able to handle the mental part of this process, but maybe the physical skills will get there, or maybe they're already there. But you don't sit atop the example has already taken the ammunition away for people using the Penix Jr. example. They had already committed $100 million to Kirk Cousins, and so he was the starter. There was no way politically, the politics behind that, the semantics behind it, the optics behind it. You can't sit Kirk Cousins, but we all said he's going to eventually start games, and he did, and he would have been fine from the jump. And I don't think he would have struggled at all. He looked great. Penix Jr. came in and looked phenomenal. And sitting the part of the season didn't really help that. You're talking about sitting, taking mental reps. He would have went in and did just as good. In some cases that you can do better. Some cases, the more you wait, the more the pressure's on you. You should be further along. The expectation's been building. As a rookie quarterback, you go in and you're expected to have failure moments. Bo Nix was up and down, and then Bo Nix took off. Like, these quarterbacks that were drafted in that pocket inside the top 13 overall last year, Nix, Caleb, Penix Jr., and eventually he did, JD5 obviously, and JJ McCarthy, they were all in the caliber quarterback that was expected to start from the jump. And if they were in a weird situation like JJ McCarthy's turned into, it's understandable that it gets delayed. Just like Penix Jr., it was understandable it got delayed. But when the opportunity opened up, guess who came straight in and dominated? Penix Jr. He went straight in, played well. The future's bright. Does this not qualify as an open door and avenue? Okay, he got hurt. Darnold played well. They got to keep Darnold in there, obviously. JJ McCarthy was recovering. And then now the door opens, and they're looking to close it again. I'm not saying he'll fail, but you have to, if you're a JJ McCarthy fan out there, you have to acknowledge that they're trying to stuff the quarterback back in the box and wrap him back up for next year. Let's open this gift next year. They're trying to do that. That's not a good sign. I'm not saying it ends badly, but it's not a good sign at all, at least for his health, which we'll find out, and they're lying to everybody, and he's more hurt and they're scared about that, or they don't believe he can step in right now. And that is a very bad sign, because it doesn't happen in today's NFL anymore. It doesn't.
Okay, I just don't think he was worth a 10 pick.
I don't either.
I mean, he shouldn't have went that early, but they were grasping at anything because they had no choice. New Age, you made the only solid point so far.
Like you have said something I can now actually defend, in that maybe he wasn't one of these guys, and that's the way I believed on draft day. But this is what I've been waiting for: somebody to give me a logical argument. The argument is maybe he's not on the same page as those guys. They drafted him early. They made a mistake. They wanted to make sure they had somebody just in case they could develop him. And he's going to take a lot more curating and maturing and blossoming to get to where those guys are. I like that explanation. That one I can accept. But if he's supposed to be the same caliber quarterback, then he needs to be starting immediately. And the door just opened, and they're trying to close that door on him. But
there is no way. Our division's way too tough for him to step in and get slandered down, and then it would destroy him. It'd be like a field situation.
I love, and I do appreciate Bleeko. I appreciate D Money. I appreciate everybody. Especially appreciate Sick Nasty. He gave his explanation right here. But Bleeko, I still appreciate you, but this is the funny part. This is like the no substance comment where it's like, they will let JJ McCarthy dominate this year in all capitals. You watch. That's my argument, and I stand by it. I own him in 17 dynasty leagues. Sick Nasty said JJ McCarthy is from a system that makes you earn everything. He was buried on the roster at Michigan as a 5-star recruit. JJ McCarthy's mental is above most, and I don't think it does a thing to his confidence. It just fuels it, which could be the case. Which is why I've said 100 times on this show, this specific show, hour and 21 minutes in, I've never once said he's a bust or he can't do it. I just think that you're probably putting him in a worse position than a better position. It could fuel him, sure, but coming off an injury and then not getting the endorsement of your team when the door's closed on, like there's wide open rather, and there's no other quarterback around. You literally, it's like your significant other about to pick you to date you, right? And there's 10 guys on the stage, and all 9 of them leave, and it's just you, and they're like, "Yeah, we still might. Let's wait a minute. I hear there's another busload of dudes coming in. They're gonna line up, so let's wait. I'll choose you later." Like that's what this is. I mean, you can't look at it any other way. And I'm not saying he doesn't overcome that, and that it shatters his confidence. It could, like Sick Nasty said, fuel it. But it's Caden says, "Open your eyes, Smitty. Open your eyes, Smitty. Vikings winning the Super Bowl. McCarthy starting or not?"
Oh.
Okay, Caden, I got him. My eyes wide open until the Super Bowl. Welcome to this place. All right. Thank you, everybody. All right, let me go around the phone line and kick everybody off one at a time. Kyrie Boston, final thoughts on the topic.
Oh, I want to say one thing as we finish this topic. Did you know that Darius Slayton was money that Saquon Barkley should have had to stay on the Giants?
Yeah, I mean, you could look at a couple of different ways the way the Giants spent their money, but that's why Joe Scheinbox is a joke.
They could have signed Barkley with.
Yeah, that's why Joe Scheinbox is a joke, because people and anybody that tried to defend
Joe for it because he went to the Eagles, man.
Yeah, but the funny part, anybody that tries to defend that, I have a lot of people that come into the comments, never on the live stream, never a caller. It's always, a comment where somebody can say what they want without having to like debate about it or anything. But they'll come in and say, "Smitty, you just don't understand the Giants or football or contracts. You're just a talking head. You don't understand contracts. They couldn't keep Barkley. They had to let him go. They had to spend the money on other things." And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of other dire needs that you're spending that money on. Not to mention, Barkley looks pretty good right now, right? So aren't we pretty? I mean, we're worried about him getting hurt or missing games from a fantasy football 1, 2, or 3 overall perspective. But like, you're owning a franchise. You got Barkley. You're expecting another 2 years at least of him, right? And so you've got Barkley on your team, and you're the Giants. You've got neighbors. You could draft Shedeur Sanders at 3 right now, and you could walk into the 2025 season with Shedeur, Barkley, and neighbors and all of a sudden, you're kind of competing, So don't give me that they needed to move on, they couldn't afford to keep them. They screwed up big time. They screwed up big time. The Giants, as much as I love Neighbors and that pick was great, hard to mess that up. It's a joke of an organization, but I think that there's still a lot of potential. And I said the other day, somebody said, if you could be the GM and fully control everything about a team right now before the NFL draft, what team do you think you could revive? And I said the Giants, because the Giants have good pieces in place. They got Neighbors, they got the 3 pick. I would fully draft Shador, or I would trade for Joe Milton, or I would draft Jalen Milroe, and then draft Genty at number 3 overall. If I could take Genty and I had Neighbors and I could trade for Milroe, you know what I would do? I would trade for Milroe, or I'm sorry, trade for Milton and also draft Milroe. I'd double dip, and I would have a star. Out of the 2 of them, I would have a star. I know I would. All right, Kyrie Boston, calling tonight, bro.
All right. You have a good night. Thank you, sir.
All right.
This is Outlaw. I got to drop some gifted membership.
All right. Thank you, Outlaw. You're the man, bro. Justin, final thoughts.
So one of the things I want to address is just kind of the different layers of this conversation. For the record, Justin Rush does not think J.J. McCarthy's that good. I think he's going to be a mediocre at best quarterback. I think he's going to be on at least 2 or 3 different teams in his first 10 years. I just don't think that what they're doing is ridiculously indicative of oh, we don't believe in this kid, or we think he's a bust, or whatever the case may be. I think they're kind of 49ers a little bit, where it's I think they are incredibly overly dedicated to the short term, especially in regard to the quarterback position.
So there's also a very, very unsubstantiated, probably 99.99999% false rumor out there in the Viking, local Viking podcast and beat writer world, the no-namers. New Age dropping 20 gifted memberships. New Age, appreciate you going to the free. But this rumor is that, and this couldn't happen last year because of dead cap, but that maybe Harbaugh's interested in trading Justin Herbert for J.J. McCarthy, something we kicked around last year about the draft pick, or when the draft selection happened, an immediate trade, because that's happened before too, where a team drafts the player that the team wants and then they trade him. But there's a little bit more buzz behind that because of all this, that potentially Harbaugh's I believe in my boy J.J. McCarthy, and the Vikings are wavering, and that you sent Herbert, and I'm just kicking this around for conversation. I don't want anybody to think that I believe this is happening. But if in fact Herbert went to the Vikings, Herbert would be a top 5-6 quarterback in fantasy. He'd be a top 5-6 quarterback in NFL terms. And the Vikings would be a Super Bowl contender, probably a top 5 or 6 ranked team by default, locked and loaded by everybody's standard if Herbert was there. Herbert's completely, unutilized to his full potential over in LAC. He's like a race car that can go 220 miles per hour, and they put a governor on the gas pedal like they used to do go-karts. And you got to figure out how to, and a go-kart, if anybody ever gets on a go-kart, the gas pedal is right here, but that gas pedal isn't where that triggers the speed or the pickup of the vehicle. It's actually a spring. And that spring, they will screw the gas pedal or bolt it to about the middle of that bolt. And so when you push the gas pedal down, it only pushes half the bolt down. But if you put your foot on the bolt, you can push the whole bolt down and go double the speed on go-karts. And I get kicked out of every go-kart place I go because I'd figure that out. I feel like that's Herbert. Herbert's locked in halfway. He can only go 110 miles per hour, even though he can go 220 in this offense. And I would love to see him get traded. But you hear Harbaugh. Harbaugh loves everybody. Rah, rah, rah. So you can't really even believe that, he called J.J. McCarthy the best quarterback. Then he goes over to the Chargers, and you can't blame him. He's like, Herbert's the best quarterback in the league. So you just don't know what he's really thinking. But man, I would love for that to happen. It's just probably not at all likely, but it's a little rumor going around. If it kicks it up into any bigger source somewhere, even if it gets shot down, we'll cover it and go live on it. But just thought I'd throw that out there. All right, Justin, anything else?
I will be looking to do a $50 draft tonight. Do you have any indication on what time you might be doing the
midnight
show?
Midnight Eastern. Right about midnight.
Like right at midnight?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Right
What's happening with you? Appreciate the.
All right, later, bro. Okay, Brucey, final thoughts, Bruce.
My thoughts are we'll just see what they have to do. I mean, we're not, general managers, but you should be, Smitty. You know how to handle this better.
I always want to be honest. I'd burn a franchise to the ground, or I'd take him to a Super Bowl within 2 years. I acknowledge there's two options there. I will fully admit that. Hopefully, it would be the championship, but I could easily burn it to the ground. Go ahead, Brucey.
Like I said, I think we're not management. We don't know what they're thinking. We got to see. I actually just heard that from you about the Herbert thing. I was actually shocked. My jaw dropped when you said that.
No, but it's a 99% false rumor, is what I said, though.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying. That's the first time I even heard the false rumor.
Yeah. Don't expect it to be anything.
Smitty.
CT ESPN, our boy Antonio Brown, who watches his channel religiously, by the way, he admitted that. He might not anymore because he's mad at me, but Antonio Brown keeps putting up things like that, like a picture of JJ McCarthy in a Viking, or I'm sorry, Herbert in a Vikings logo and all that. He's done that a couple times. So, but he also thought that was going to go down last year, and he DM'd me and asked me about the dead cap hit on it. I'm like, yeah, it probably can't happen, bro, because the dead cap is like 130 or 140 or whatever it was. But Antonio Brown, he's been right once in a while. If you're watching AB, I don't know why you're mad at me. Okay,
you're our boy, AB.
Yeah, we still love you, pal. Anytime you want to come on this show, I invite him on anytime. The thing that he got mad about is I wouldn't pay him to come on. He asked me for budget. He goes, "You got budget?" I said, "Antonio Brown, I don't not going to pay you to come on the show. Like, I'll come on and we'll promote the hell out of CT ESPN. Like, it's a pretty good platform. Like, we could have 1,000 live viewers in here at any moment. When there's a breaking news show, I was like, I'll promote the hell out of your CT ESPN. I'm not going to pay you to come on my show. It's like, why don't I just order a freaking what are those things called? Where you order a birthday wish or whatever from the celebrities. What's it called? What is it?
I forget what they're called. I did one for my sister.
Cameo.
I forget.
Yeah, Cameo. So it's like, I'm not going to order a cake. Hey, AB, I'll pay for this. Can you just say, "Dear viewer, watch the fantasy football show"? So he said, "You got budget?" And I said, "I'm not paying you to come on the show." And then he blocked me. So I can't even, he blocked me on Twitter anyway. All right, got to go, Brucey. Call him tonight, pal.
All right,
later.
Yep.
And AB, all's forgiven. Just come back, AB. I want to promote the hell out of you. Okay, Ron, you're live. Final thought.
The day you promote AB is the day I leave.
Come on.
Freaking psycho ass.
Yeah, you'd have fun watching him come on the show. Whether you like him or not, you'd be like, "Holy crap."
I'd like to talk to him and give him a piece of my mind. That's fruitcake.
All right. Any final thoughts? Yeah, 9 p.m. Arizona time, 12 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Justin.
I know you were sticking pretty much to McCarthy and the news and what they're projecting out, but what are your personal thoughts on JJ there in Minnesota? Because I know at first you didn't like it. We both wanted Bennett.
I think JJ's a top 3 wide receiver lock.
McCarthy.
Okay, you said JJ, so I'm just correcting you.
I know quit being technical with me.
It's not J. He's not JJ. If Leonard Thomas, cornerback out of Montana State, gets into the NFL and starts calling himself LT, I'm gonna have a problem with it. Even if they called him LT at Montana State. All right, go ahead, Ron.
So yeah, McCarthy. I mean, we know where you're coming from. You're just reading the news, and you said you didn't. You're not saying he's not going to be a bust or whatever.
Yeah, didn't.
What are your personal thoughts? Because I know you didn't like him his rookie year when he was drafted. But
well, my gut instinct, and I have not said he's going to be a bust on this show. This hour and 35-minute, 19 seconds. Right. So you're asking me now to give you my take. My take is that my belief as a prospect, and again, Kurt Warner was not even believed by his offensive coordinator, and his offensive coordinator said, Trent Green goes down, I don't want Kurt Warner as my starter. So just to understand that I'm not saying that I have, this is my end all take. Like, he could develop at the National Football League level fast, and I could be a huge supporter of him. And I don't think that's flip-flopping. I think if I'm asked to judge him now as the prospect that is not played yet, I believe that as a prospect, he was not deserving of being anywhere near the top 10. I think he wasn't a first-round pick. I didn't have him graded as a first-round pick. I don't think he belonged in the first round. I think he was amazing in college. He was in a great system. He was a system quarterback. I think he's got a lot of amazing talents and skill sets that will translate at the National Football League level if his skills can catch up and he can be an electric player, great decision maker. I think that if you plugged him into the Minnesota offense right now, he would probably produce pretty well. I think because the system's amazing. So, like Darnold, do I believe Darnold was as good as he was? I'll be honest with you. I love JSN, and I think that Darnold's good enough to feed him. But do I think he's going to win? Do I think I don't know. I'm still kind of perplexed as to what we saw. Like, did we watch magic? Was there sorcery going on in Minnesota? And because Darnold was, I think, good, but he looked great. Darnold looked great. He looked fantastic. Could J.J. McCarthy deliver in Minnesota? I think he could. I don't know that he would look as well as even Darnold looked. He might not. But I think it's a great place to be. As a prospect, I don't think he deserved to be in the top 10. I think he fell into an amazing situation that they could get the most out of him. But I think that the Vikings probably have some concerns, like I said, either about his health, but I think they have some concerns about his ability to be the starter and not ruin him. Like New Age said, you plug him in right now and you don't really believe he's there yet, he's going to be done. You're going to ruin him. You can't dial that back. So they're worried enough right now that this door is wide open. He's the only quarterback on the roster. Ripken or whatever the hell his name is on the roster too. They've got no other quarterback on the roster, and they're unwilling to commit to him. They're still searching out there. That to me tells, from a coach of the year, from an amazing offense, that tells me they're worried. Whether it's founded in logic or not, whether it's going to end up being true, whether he does play well or doesn't, that's all to be determined. But I believe that there's concern. And so it kind of matches up with my pre-draft concern. So I'd say I feel like the way the Vikings are cautious about it tells me that I'm right, that maybe he's not right now the guy that people want him to be. It's tough to be a star in the NFL, and this is a place where they need a star.
Doesn't it kind of have? I agree with your take on this, but doesn't it kind of remind you kind of like a 49er take, what the 49ers would do? I mean,
yeah. I also think Brock Purdy is a very similar player as McCarthy. I think Brock Purdy was born into a great situation. And again, if McCarthy got injected into the lineup, no one can come back here and say Smitty told you he was going to throw, to JJ and it was going to be good. I'm telling you right now, this is the best place he could be injected into because it'll prop him up. I don't know that he'll be a Super Bowl type of quarterback or a top 5, 6, 7, 8 quarterback, but could he play like a 12, a 10, a 14 at times? I think he could. This offense is so good. But I don't know. I feel like Brock Purdy.
Remember.
Okay, go ahead.
In college, I mean, under Harbaugh, when Harbaugh was there, he didn't throw the ball a lot. It was mostly a run game. Michigan ran the ball mostly, and he hardly had to throw the ball. So, I mean, we have yet to see a good, persistent J.J. McCarthy throw the ball on a consistent basis to see what he can do.
When JJ's a top 5 QB this year, you can apologize. I'm not going to apologize to you for anything because I haven't told you a single thing that you think you heard. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I got to deal with constantly. People don't listen. They don't listen. They don't watch. They assume they hear a lot of yelling and they think that, oh, Smitty must hate JJ McCarthy. I just think that he's not ready. The concern they have, and it could be solved by putting him in there, letting the trial by fire develop him. And in this situation, he could come out on top because it's such a good environment. But Bleeco wouldn't understand that because he's not listening. He's not listening at all. Josh isn't listening either because Josh says Smitty hates JJ. I love Justin Jefferson, so I don't know what you're talking about, Josh. I don't think you know what you're talking about. But yeah, I think that there's something going on. That's all I'm telling you. That's what this show is kind of about. There's something going on either with the injury.
I mean, you've always had your take on players, and you're not afraid. You've never been afraid that when they do come out and they perform better than what you thought, you'll come back and you'll say, "Hey, he's performing better than I thought he would." I was a little wrong on my first take, but that's what my eye test told me. You always say that. I mean,
but JJ has weapons. JJ doesn't throw to weapons. He catches footballs, Bruce. So I don't know what you're talking about there either. you guys that think you know about Justin Jefferson, you keep talking about Justin Jefferson. All these JJ coming, you're just talking about Justin Jefferson. You don't even know it. You don't even know it. All right. We'll see you later. Ron, we'll see you later. I'll be live tonight.
Out, right? All right. Later, Smitty.
Later. All right, Gump. You got 15 seconds, Gump.
Smitty, could I say something?
That's why I said you're live. Gump, can I just get something out of the way? Can we not do can I say something?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? I'm here. You're wasting time. Just say it. You're live. Go.
Okay, listen.
Go.
Yeah. You never give the Lions any loving, and you don't even tell me where J-Mo is on your big board. I think he might be one of the top receivers, and everybody's all of a sudden ready ditching on the Lions. That we're gonna do good. Oh, I just want to win. But you got to give us some loving over here. I want the team to win. We need to have a breakdown.
Finish him. Call terminate.
But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10. But the continuum of...
Legend has it if you say St. Brown 3 times in the dark in the bathroom, you will immediately lose your league.
Is that better, Gump? Gump, I talk about the Lions all the time. Jahmyr Gibbs is with this show, one of this show's favorite players. St. Brown, we love St. Brown. J-Mo was one of my biggest wide receiver 3 sleepers last year. And he won people single-handedly their leagues. I don't think you're paying attention to every show, Gump, but I appreciate you. I hope that you find some solace tonight. See you all a little later. Appreciate every single one of you. We'll be back live here in a couple hours to draft. Underdog Fantasy.
The stack above all stacks. It's time to drop the pen.
Underdog Fantasy, up to $1,000 on your first deposit. In bonus credit, use code Smitty or the link that I'm dropping in the live chat if you want to draft with us tonight. Sign up now so you're not scrambling to do it later, and that way you can just get right in. And the instructions will be in the live stream. Hey, we're jumping into this draft, and you'll be logged in and ready to go. That's the link. Hit the link. Do it live. See you all. Appreciate you. Bryson said, don't forget my dono. I'm sorry, Bryson. Bryson, you still there? Here we go. Bryson, my boy, coming in strong with a super chat. Says, thoughts on this Dynasty Superflex. Giving JJ pick 1.1 and a second, 2026 third for Bucky, London, JT, and pick 104. If this is JJ McCarthy, this is the problem. You can't use JJ for Justin, for JJ McCarthy. You can't. It's Justin Jefferson. This is the NFL. So if this is a Dynasty Superflex and you're asking me about JJ McCarthy, that could screw up the entire advice I give you, and then you don't get an answer. I'm going to answer both ways, but you can't call JJ McCarthy JJ. That's like calling, I don't know. It's like calling some center that doesn't even play for the Clippers Jordan. We just call him Jordan? Can we call him Braun? Can we call him? Let's call him the Joker. What are we doing? Thoughts on the? Okay, so if this is Justin Jefferson, which is how it reads, pick 11, Justin Jefferson, mid-second. Let's see here, and it might be Justin Jefferson. It might be actually what he meant. Okay, it is Jefferson. Holy shit. Okay, so JJ. Sorry, I yelled at you. Don't say sorry, Bryson, because you did the proper thing. You said JJ, and that's him. So you don't have to apologize for anything. I apologize. I assumed it was J. You said Superflex, so I just assumed it was JJ McCarthy. Okay. Yeah, MJ. MJ. Mark Jackson. MJ. Hey, I'll call you right back. Thoughts on this dynasty? JJ, Justin Jefferson, pick 11 this year, and his second in 2026, a third. I don't care about the second and third. So 1.11 in JJ for Bucky, London, JT, pick 104 this year. Holy crap. Bro, I take Bucky, London, JT in the 104 and I run. Yeah, Silver Rapture is right. This is probably the best example. Is calling Bijan B-Rob. And that's like the reverse. Like Bijan gets whatever he wants, but you can't call him B-Rob because you're just gonna mix things up. That's a good one. That's like the reverse too. Man, let me put it this way, Bryson. If someone offered me this trade, if someone wanted my Bucky, London, JT, and the 1.4 for essentially Justin Jefferson in a garbage first rounder, I would send them this.
You are offer sex. You are trade offer sex.
Did I miss something on here? Was there a 1.4? Pick 1.1. It's pick 1.1 mid-second. Yeah, no, I didn't miss that. Okay. So yeah, this is a horrible trade. So if you're getting Bucky, you smash it.
You've just been Smitty approved.
That's a wild trade. That's a great trade. I hope you don't have vetoes. I'll be very curious if that doesn't get vetoed if you have vetoes. And you shouldn't. Nobody should be playing in a league with vetoes. It's crazy. Janet Jackson's JJ? Maybe. That's Janet Jackson has a better case to claim JJ than JJ McCarthy. Okay? Let me put it that way. See you all tonight. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you, BBQ. Thank you for the super chat, the multiple gifted membership. Thank you, New Age Outlaw, for the gifted membership and phone call. Justin Rush, Bryson, BBQ, to the moon. Appreciate you all. Mod Squad in the house. I haven't seen Travis all day. See you all later.